So I am with Tracy Allan Jones, the owner of Tampa Bay Sports and Medical Massage. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming down here.
Thanks, Wade.
Well, you have a lot of letters behind your name. Can you explain that to me, what that is exactly?
Oh, my gosh. Where do I begin? So I'm a student of learning.
Beautiful.
Right? So my first set of letters that I put behind my name is the MSW, Master of Social Work. I got a Master of Social Work degree. I'm really proud of that because I spent a lot of time and a lot of money to learn how to be a skeptic.
Nice.
Right? That's really what I think that's what any master's degree gives you, right? It gives you some skills in a certain area, but mostly it teaches you how to read research and how to look at things critically and pull them apart. So that I'm pretty proud of. I have a number of certifications. Well, I have the LMT for Licensed Massage Therapist in the state of Florida. In order to practice massage, you have to be licensed.
Sure.
And then going forward, I have advanced certifications: neuromuscular therapy, neurosomatic therapy, or NST.
I heard you're the pioneer of that, actually. One of the pioneers.
Neurokinetic therapy, nice. Which is another system put out by a guy named David Weinstock, who developed that. That's some pretty interesting technology. And then I got a bunch. Titleist Performance Institute, or PPI, so I'm a level 3 medical certified practitioner, nice. Which is pretty rare. As far as I know, I'm one of 20 massage therapists who've gotten that designation, and there are, I believe, under 300 total healthcare practitioners who have that designation. So,
in the country or in the world?
In the world, yeah. So I'm pretty fascinated by that number. I'm proud and excited to be involved at that level.
Wow.
And I hope to do more stuff with Titleist Performance Institute, and just work with golfers in general. I find sports to be incredibly exciting. So,
how did you get involved in this industry? I mean, what got you into it?
What got me into massage was when I was a freshman in college. I was late for class one day. And I just eaten a huge lunch because I was a teenager, and I was late for class. I opened the door and picked up my backpack at the same time in the same motion, and I wrenched my back. I went to the student health center. They said, lay around for a week and take these pills. And then, to make a long story short, I ended up being addicted to drugs and painkillers, and my dream of being a medical doctor was going away, partially because I was disillusioned, right? I didn't want to be, doctors had no answer for me. Physical therapy had no answer. Chiropractic had no answer. Nobody had an answer at that time. This was in 1985. To 1987. At the end there, I was thoroughly depressed, suicidal, flunking out of community college at that point. And I was going to counseling because I didn't really want to die, but I didn't know what else to do, but I wanted to die. And I was going to counseling, and that woman said, hey, there's this massage therapist renting space next door to me. Maybe you could go see him. That was a guy named Douglas Nelson, who's prominent nationally in the massage field. And he worked on me, and I got relief for the first time in 2.5 years. And that relief lasted about 3 hours, but that was 3 hours more than anybody else got me. But one of the things he did was he stood me up, and he looked at my posture, and he said, is that where it hurts? And he pushed his finger into my back, and that was where it hurt. And it was just kind of freeing at that moment. Over the next several months, year or so, I went to see Doug several times. He helped get me out of pain, got me turned around, and that's when I decided that's what I wanted to do. So it took me a few years to get through school. At that time, it was very difficult to get funding for massage school. So I had to complete my degrees in social work so I could afford to go to massage school, which was what I really wanted to do.
So first you went to social school, and then you went to
And then
massage.
I went to massage school. Yeah.
Wow. How
Yeah.
long that took, as far as your class, your schooling goes for massage therapy?
For massage therapy, massage therapy is kind of interesting because it's a vocational program. It took me about 15 months to go through the program that I went through. Part-time.
Part-time.
Part-time, yeah. I was working at a foster home and doing my homework with the kids. They were doing their homework. I was doing mine. So it was kind of nice. I was getting paid to do my homework.
That's awesome.
But, yeah, and what was interesting to me was that at massage school, it was incredibly challenging. Most people think, well, it's just a vocational school. I took anatomy and physiology at a Big Ten university, and I worked harder in massage school, and I learned more in massage school than I did at the university studying the same material. So,
what's the difference between the type of massage that you do or somebody gets in a spa? A kind of awkward question, but I'm sure.
So generally in a spa, you're getting a Swedish massage, or some sort of spa treatment, a hot stone massage, something that's designed to be very pleasant. I call it a vacation massage, right? It's very nice while it's happening. It's meditative. There's tremendous value to it. It calms your nervous system down, and improves your circulation. It does a lot of good things, but it's not corrective in nature. Right? So it's kind of general. You feel good. A few hours later, you don't really know if you had the massage or not. So for me, what interests me is problem solving. I want to correct something. And that's why I called my business, sports and medical massage, right? I want to improve performance. I want to set a goal. I want to achieve that goal, whether it's improve flexibility, improve power on the performance side, and then to deal with pain, chronic pain or acute pain on the other side or the other track of the business, simply because that's my history. That's where I came from. I know what it's like to be desperate and suicidal.
Me too, yes.
I know what that's like. So when somebody comes to see me, I'm not giving up on them. I'm not going to give up on them. I'm not going to take them into the tunnel of chaos and then not hold their hand through the process.
Or give them a painkiller.
Yeah.
To just hide the pain.
Yeah, to just hide the pain. Or even if they have to go that route, I still kind of feel an obligation to support them through and kind of help them keep their mind straight, because it's easy to get lost in that process and to just get left by the wayside or forgotten or have or be told you have a condition that you don't have because it gets you to shut up and leave me alone. So not that I know any doctors like that, but I kind of felt like that's what happened to me. Like you're okay. There's nothing to do. Why am I hurting? We don't know. Take these pills. So I can't take people down that path or leave them there.
It's kind of interesting that you brought that up. Obviously, I've been involved in fitness for so many years myself, and because of heavy lifting at the beginning of my career, because that's what they used to preach at that time, I had over 10 surgeries myself. So I feel you when it comes into to pain goes. So talking about pain, how do you hunt down the pain?
How do I hunt down the pain? Well, there are two kinds of pain. One of the lessons I've learned over my career is that when somebody comes in and they say, I have pain here, I'm going to start there. Because you know what? It might be there. That might be where the problem is. Usually it's not. So, but if I don't touch there, they're going to think that I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Or they're going to think I'm not listening to them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm going to touch there and see, because maybe that's where the problem, maybe there's a torn muscle or a damaged nerve or just a scar right there. And that's really where the problem is. Usually, though, the problem is somewhere else. So I do, a lot of it shows up in posture. or tight muscles will show up in posture. There was a time in my career where I kind of didn't want to know what was going on when someone walked in the door because I was afraid that would bias my assessment, right? Like I'd start chasing pain instead of just measuring and following a system. And you know, part of my brain still wants to think that way. But I want to put things together. So, for example, I had a guy come in today who had piriformis syndrome, which is a muscle in the back of your hip, for those who aren't thoroughly aware of this. And it's a very popular diagnosis. Piriformis syndrome, and for some people, the sciatic nerve goes underneath or through that muscle. And so if the piriformis gets tight, it starts looking like a sciatic condition with pain down the back of the leg. So this guy came in, and I measured him, and what I discovered was his pelvis was actually twisted. In other words, one half was going forward and the other half was going back. On the short leg side, the pelvis was going forward, and on the long leg side, the pelvis was going back. And what happens with a pelvis when it does this, it tries to make your leg shorter. So he had a collapsed arch on one side, which was causing his pelvis to go forward and make his leg shorter because the arch was collapsing. So to compensate for that, his body was trying to rotate the other half of the pelvis the opposite direction to shorten that leg to make the rest of his body balanced. But in order to do that, he had to contract a bunch of muscles in the back of his hip. So when I did my assessment and I found that collapsed arch, you know, we corrected a bunch of other stuff. But if he doesn't account for that arch somehow by either building up the foot or finding what's making that arch collapse, if we don't take care of that, then this other thing's not going to have a chance. But we have to treat all of them at the same time. We can't just like do one thing. Because if it's not his arch that's the problem, then we're going to take away the body's ability to adapt to something else that's wrong. So we're kind of finding multiple things that are distorted, but if I never looked at his arch, he's probably not going to really ever get better. And at that point, I become an expensive aspirine. You know,
do you have a test for that? Do you have a test for that to actually?
For the arch?
Yeah, for the arch, or to figure out exactly where the problem is coming from.
Yeah, there are some assessment processes to go through. You can do muscle testing to see which muscles or nerves are firing. That's where Neurosomatic Therapy or NKT comes in, because you can do muscle testing, and what you're really measuring, it's not like how strong is the muscle, it's just is the nervous system finding the muscle and then coordinating that. And he did have some of that. His rectus femoris, he had no motor control over. And even with his hand on his leg, he couldn't figure out how to fire that muscle without doing a gross movement, literally lifting his leg all the way up off the table. He could start to find it. So his homework was to work with that. We know that the hip is part of the problem. And then with the arch, we're just going to kind of run an experiment of n=1 and work with the hip and the leg and see if that gets better. If that doesn't get better, then we'll mix in the arch to go with it and put in another ingredient in the stew, so to speak, and see if that comes together. But I suspect it's going to be one of those. But
it is solvable. I mean, it can be
absolutely solvable. Yeah.
But, you know, it's kind of funny that you say that because I had some serious pain in my left ankle when I was a director at Powerhouse, obviously. You know, you stand on your feet 16, 17, 18 hours a day, and then so the ankle starts swelling up. But the problem was that problem was causing a second problem in my right hip.
Yeah.
So is that something common that usually if an ankle goes out?
Yes. So here's the way I see it. The bully never comes in from the playground crying. Right? So whatever's hurting, it's probably the victim more than the cause. So even for myself, I tend to get upper cervical pain. I get pain in the top of my neck if I turn my head and it's hurting. most people would go, "Oh, my neck! I need someone to work on the top of my neck or just below my skull," and I say, "No, let's measure, right?" And so what I know over time is that my lower cervicals, I had a whiplash car accident, and my lower cervicals will stabilize, right? If I get stressed out, the alarm goes off and it says stabilize, and then I can't rotate in my lower neck, so all the rotation has to happen in the upper neck. And then what happens in the upper neck is the alarms go off and the victims go, "Hey, we can't go any further," right? So they say ow, because there's the human body only has a few ways to communicate with you. And I boiled it down to roughly 8, right? There's hot, there's cold, there's tickly, tingly, numb, ouch, of course, and I think that's 7, but there's another one in there, right? Which is ooh, that feels good, right? But it doesn't have a lot of ways to communicate with you. I'm hungry, you get a rumbly in your tumbly, but there aren't so many words that it knows. So usually when pain manifests, we don't know the nature of the pain. Is it neurological? Is it biochemical? Or is it just something saying, "Hey, something's wrong. Shut it down for a minute until we can figure this out"? And so, you have to figure out how to classify the pain. How do you classify the pain? What's it really communicating? And figure that out. Once you figure that out, then it's, you start to look for the keystone, which unlocks everything or holds that bridge together. You take that away, that whole pain pattern falls apart. So yeah, could be your ankle. Probably your ankle, changing your mechanics. Now your hip starts hurting because you changed your gait, or you're changing your posture to take pressure off of that injured area.
Do you only fix broken people?
So the question, as I see it, is, do I do more than just deal with people who are in pain? Yes. We do work with a lot of runners, triathletes, people who set a goal for some big achievement, and they want to perform at a higher level. There's actually been some interesting research. I don't have it in front of me, but it's easy enough to find the links. There are 2 studies in performance for massage. The first study was published in 2012, and in that study they took subjects, put them on a bike, had them ride the bike vigorously, got off the bike, did a 10-minute massage on one leg. Then they did tissue samples for the muscle in both legs at intervals. And what they found was approximately 90 minutes after the massage, so exercise plus massage, approximately 90 minutes after that, the massaged leg had more and bigger mitochondria, right, the power plants of the cells, which means respiration's happening faster, which is good. The power plants are working at a higher level. And there was less inflammation in the massage limb as well. So that's going to matter in performance in terms of the ability to recover. I believe also if a person who participates in aerobic activities, like a runner, distance runner, were to get a massage approximately 90 minutes before an event, that their mitochondria are actually going to be primed for a better performance. Now, research is going to show whether or not that actually is a good thing, right? But my hypothesis is it is a good thing. The second study had to do with circulation. So they had, basically healthy but out of shape individuals do leg presses on a leg press machine to the point of fatigue, not exhaustion, but fatigue. And then they gave them a leg massage. So they had one group that didn't get massage, and they had a group that got massage. The group that didn't get massage, their circulation was actually reduced for about 72 hours. The massage group actually had improved circulation over baseline in the compared to the pre-test for about 72 hours. There was a third group, the control group, that didn't do the exercise, but they got the massage. They also had improved circulation for 72 hours. So it's not necessarily the exercise that you need to improve the circulation. It could just theoretically be the massage. One thing of note about the study was that they didn't measure circulation in the limbs that were massaged. They measured circulation at the brachial artery. So they were measuring at their arm. They didn't get an arm massage. They didn't get a full body massage. They only got a leg massage. So it
But it was affecting the other areas.
But it improved circulation globally. So even if you just get like a little bit of a massage, that's still going to be beneficial for somebody who's doing aerobic performance, some sort of performance. Certainly improved flexibility matters. For the last 7 seasons, I've been the massage therapist for Notre Dame track and field.
Yes, I heard that.
And, I did different massage techniques for different sports and different athletes, depending on what they had going on. Some of them I was putting out fires, but most of them I was doing either performance enhancement or performance recovery. For the performance enhancement group, I point to the 400-meter runners. So one season we had two men and 2 women, 400-meter runners who made it to the finals at the NCAA championships, which is pretty exciting. And then they ran 2 weeks later at the championships for USA Track and Field at the trials.
Yes.
They were 1 second faster.
Wow.
At the NCAAs, which I was at. I didn't go to the USA Track and Field championships to work with them, unfortunately. So I figure I'm worth about a second per 400 meters.
For people who don't realize that 1 second can make or break a...
1 second's a big deal. 1 second's a big deal.
So for somebody like myself who had multiple surgeries, can you tell me that could that help someone like me also?
I can't say with 100% confidence that it's going to get you pain-free. Right. I can say with 100% confidence we will get you feeling better. The question is it better than any other intervention? Or, does it become good enough that it was a worthwhile investment? Now, that's something I really try to be conscious of, right? Because people are giving me their hard-earned money. I don't take that responsibility lightly. I'm a very expensive aspirin. So if we're not getting enduring results, I'm not really happy with it. Now, you have the freedom of choice, right? Like I'm going to point that out. But, if somebody wants to, have 4 hours of relief once a week or twice a week, I'll help them. But in my mind, I'm continuously searching for the next, what's the next right thing? What's the next solution? And work towards that pathway. But I'm also not afraid to say I can't help you if I can't help you.
Sure.
Right? Sure. So without trying, I don't know. I think I can make a difference. The question is, at what point do we reach that point of diminishing returns? So
somebody like me who is a aggressive lifter for many, many years, that will how many times I should come and see you? Yeah, for instance, if you train 6 times a week, monthly, how many times should individual like that?
Ideally, I would say once a week.
Once a week.
Yeah, and if you're super hardcore, like a professional, at least twice a week. Yeah, because super hardcore professionals are pushing the limit. The line between performance and injury is pretty thin, right? And it's right there. And then what massage does, along with other technologies, is it pushes the line over a little bit. So you can train a little harder, right? You can recover a little faster. Not necessarily more frequently, but a little harder and recover a little faster. So for someone who's lifting heavy weights, it's hard you know,
I don't lift heavy anymore.
Yeah, okay, good. You know, the ability to recover matters. Now, it depends on why you're lifting heavy weights. And this is interesting because I have a gentleman that I'm working with now, and he's going to be gracious enough to do an experiment with us, you know, N=1 experiment. And what he has is asymmetry in his lats. And so I want to test if the massage with his lats actually will help him recover faster, that he can train it harder, that it will expand, right? Or if there's fascia holding it back, that we can expand that lat. But I want to see over several weeks, we're going to see if just massaging the lat, if we can create more symmetry with his lat. Now, I'm pretty excited about this opportunity because if we can show that massage, you know, helps a bodybuilder make gains, then in size, then that's going to be huge for bodybuilders, because we know that symmetry matters when you're judging a bodybuilding competition. The judges want to see symmetry. They don't want to see one giant bicep and then one scrawny one. They want to see symmetry, and if we can create that symmetry using massage, that will change. That's a technology to bring to the table, and that would be pretty exciting. And if not that, we'll try other stuff until we figure it out. So I'm pretty excited.
So I know you also made some DVDs. Can you tell me a little bit about that? And are they in the digital technology so we can maybe show some of it later on?
When I was with a company called Neurosomatic Educators, and we may have to ask permission to use their product, I produced with my partners 6 DVDs. I did the editing, production side of it. It was a lot of fun. I had to learn software, so I bought a course to learn how to use the software. I would camp in front of the computer for hours. Computers are so much faster now when you're rendering video clips. For those of you who don't know what that means, God bless you. The computer has to interpret it and put it in a format that will play on your computer.
You sound like my director.
Yeah. We can have fun. But, it was time consuming, but it was also fun because, in the old days, you had to record video on video, so you had degradation.
Yeah.
Or you had to literally cut a video, which means if you screwed up, you lost that piece of video. And now it's non-destructive, so you don't have to be afraid to make mistakes. You can go back and undo something that you've done, which was freeing for me, because in the beginning I was kind of scared. But we set up the cameras. I'm not saying it was Emmy-worthy or anything, but it served its purpose, and we got really good feedback on how useful the videos were. As a companion for the seminars that we did. So
how long did it took to make it?
It took probably, so each video was roughly an hour long, and it took about 2 months working very part-time to edit and prepare something ready for DVD.
So how do we find you on the website for national and local? Obviously, you've done all kind of different works all around the United States. How do people find you?
Well, right now the way to find me is TampaBaySportsMassage.com, and I'm in the process of launching a seminar company, SportsSpecificSeminars.com.
Nice.
So what that is going to be, and I've started, is taking a given sport and then preparing therapists to work with athletes in that sport. So I've written a course for golf, I've written a course for cycling, and I've written most of a course for track and field. The thing about the track and field course is it's actually 3 courses, right? Because you have sprinters and jumpers, you have throwers, and then you have distance people. So it's actually 3 different courses. It's turning out to be a much bigger project than I initially envisioned, but that's exciting too, because if I can get 3 different seminars out of it, and then find a way to bundle that as the track package, that will be really helpful, and I think that will help athletes all over the world. Most of the people working in a given sport have kind of stumbled into it, and there's not a lot of sport-specific thinking or training outside of the training room or outside of the team. So I think it just will be fun to kind of push massage therapy in that direction. There's sports massage courses, which are generally geared towards distance athletes. There aren't a whole lot of sport-specific courses. There's not a course for baseball. There's not a course for soccer. But I plan on developing courses for any number of sports, because the injuries and the demands for all of those sports are different. Some are rotating, some are linear, some are power. So it'll be fun.
Before I forget, a lot of your expertise on tennis also, right?
Yes. Yeah, I work with a lot of tennis
about
athletes.
Yeah.
Tennis and golf are kind of related.
Mm-hmm.
There are some differences, but they're kind of related in that they're both rotational sports.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball is generally a rotational sport, depending on which aspect of baseball. So I've worked with a lot of tennis players. I sponsor a tournament, Tennis for Animals, which happens every year for animal-based charities. Basically what we do is raise money to buy supplies for other animal charities.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
I'm an animal lover, so that's great to hear that, really, honestly.
And it's so much fun to see people get together and play tennis. Yeah. It's a doubles tournament, to get together and see people play tennis and have a good time, and raise some money for a decent cause, and the wine drinkers drink the wine.
2 other questions. One
Please.
of them is that what should people do so that way they're not broken?
Yes. Well, there are a number of things on the prevention side that kind of matter. The first thing I would say is get a good screening from a decent healthcare practitioner, whether that's a medical doctor or a chiropractor or a physical therapist. Most massage therapists are not going to be qualified at the same level. So you want to get a good screening, you want to get a skeletal screening, and we want to know, how are you at risk for injury. FMS is a good program. Functional Movement Screen has some ability, not necessarily to predict whether or not you're going to be injured, but if you're injured, where it might happen. And then the other part of that is to get a good coach.
Good coach, exactly.
Good coaches.
Yep.
The number one, I wrote a book, I never released it. Maybe one day I'll put it in print on peak performance. The secrets of peak performance. My number one secret is get a coach. Get a good coach. Even a bad coach is going to help you be better than no coach, more often than not. But finding a qualified coach to keep you healthy, to keep you fit, that is incredibly important for keeping you fit. Some coaches are bad coaches, so ask around. Find out who's good, who's got a reputation for being good.
We definitely want to have you here again. Thank you so much for coming down here.
Thank you.
We learned a lot from you. And actually, I'm looking forward to work with you, maybe in the very near future. We're also working on some new digital technology
that sounds exciting.
And I would love to. And Abawi Fit, we bring only the best of the best. As you can see, just based on what he said, he truly is one of the best in the country. And I'm very fortunate and lucky to have him here and learn from you. Thank you very much for coming down here.
Wait, it's my pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
And hopefully I want you to come again.
I would love that. Yeah. Let's find out more. Peace.
Hey guys, don't forget to comment, like, and share. Also make sure to click that subscribe button below, and I will do everything I can to answer it as fast as I can.